Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Chode House. This is episode 4. With you is Ethan, D, and Snow. Thank you for listening in. We've got some good shit to talk about tonight. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So, I'll get right into it, guys.
Yep.
I watched.
Do you like calamari? That's what we're talking about, right? You said calamari, calamari experience. I think is the new.
Yeah,
I've had
calamari before.
It's a new it's a new escape experience. It's called calamari escape. The calamari escape experience.
No, Squid Game.
Sure, if you want to call it that. Some people call it that.
Netflix show.
I still go back to calamari. But yeah, Squid Game. I watched it. I watched it in its entirety, and I did this while I was supposed to be working. So, needless to say, I didn't get
allegedly supposed.
allegedly. I was working, and so I just kind of had it on, and I mean, you know how it is. Sometimes, I'll put the TV on or something while I'm working, just have something going on in the background. But I mean, I watched the majority of it and worked. If anyone I know is listening, I worked those 2 days solid.
Oh,
Like a madman.
just constant.
I got more done in my divided attention than you probably did in the week. So just keep.
So what'd you think of it? Because I've only watched 3 episodes. I need to finish it. Just had a busier week than
I'll try
expected.
not to. I'll try not, of course, try not to spoil anything. So I'm just gonna lay out the premise, because D hasn't seen it, right? You haven't seen any. Of it?
Yeah. I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant as hell on it. All I know is it's some weird show about a game. But apparently it's
Squid Game.
captivating to a lot of folks. So send it.
The story is good. It's a South Korean film, which actually, it coming out now. Actually, I had seen another Korean film, pretty similar, but it looked like, I swear it looked like it was shot from like a phone, like it was a home movie or something. And I think,
was it found footage? Was it one of those like it's a horror movie where they did found footage?
And I think it came out of North Korea.
I hate that. Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
Uh-oh.
Was it a documentary of someone trying to escape?
It was on Facebook Live. I don't know.
It's
I didn't
Instagram.
know
It was an
that.
Instagram story.
yeah, it was a reel on Instagram. I thought it was. I mean, the premise sure is good, but man, it looked
Acting
so
was kind of
real.
bad. The death scene was just. It wasn't just. They need to do better. The squibs did not look real.
It was unbelievable. I felt nothing.
So I want to interject. So for Squid Game, one thing I noticed, I want to say real quick, it's not about the plot. It's just about it being, I guess, not an American film. And I'm by far not an art critic.
So
I'm not here.
Is it a film or is it a show? Is it?
I'm sorry. It is a show. It's like 7 or 9 episodes. It's an odd number.
Okay.
I'll say cinema then, because you're right. It's not a film. One thing I like about it, and this isn't me shitting on Hollywood. Hollywood puts out great movies and absolute dog shit movies too. I'm not an international film buff or anything, but I will say that, and I haven't finished it yet, but I like the willingness, like in general, from what I've seen of some Asian cinema, like Japanese and South Korean mainly, it's willing to do stuff differently. Like it still has plot tropes, right? But it doesn't have I guess because maybe it's culturally different. The tropes don't seem familiar to me. Like in Hollywood, for example, you would know exactly how this show would pan out once you'd watch 30 minutes of the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the way they did it, while it's still predictable in several places, it has a different pacing to it, and it takes some turns that Hollywood would not do.
Oh baby.
Anyways, I appreciate that about it.
Just wait.
So we'll
just wait till the last episode.
Bring it back. What's the premise of this? Because like I said, I'm completely ignorant.
Go ahead.
So similar to any communist country, this is set up where you have like this ruling class that brings in. Wait, okay, I'll get away from politics, guys. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
that's not the plot at all.
no,
Let's
that's
reel
not
it
the
in.
plot at
There you
all.
go.
You had me. I was like, yeah.
The setup is very high level. This group of people, is 496 people, are playing games for a large amount of money.
Yep.
Now the catch is, of course, that when they play these games, if they lose, they die.
Well, I think they do a brilliant job. What they say specifically, they are very lawyerly about it. They sign a contract. It's voluntary. Let's say that too. You're not forced into this game, right? It's entirely voluntary, and the rules you sign say if you break the rules or refuse to play, you are eliminated from the game. It does not say killed. Now you are killed. But what they say
is it like at the top we define elimination as immediate death?
Right.
No, they don't go that far. But I did find that's one of the things interesting about it is you can actually, and the final rule is if the majority wants to quit, the game's quit, and that's used as a plot device. It's hardly like I thought it was going to be kind of like Saw, right? I don't know if you thought that too, Ethan, but I was kind of going into it like,
yeah, I did too.
Yeah, it's going to be abduction. They're forced to play for some sick person's amusement, and that is true. The people doing it are sick fucks, but it's voluntary. The people that are there are massively in debt. The people that are playing it, they owe millions of American dollars to loan sharks, to banks, and like Ethan said, the premise is. And they openly say it. The game organizers are like, you can leave, you can quit. Well, all we're offering you here is a chance to win money and get your life back. As long as you play by the rules, you will walk out of here alive, and you will have, millions and millions of dollars to your name.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And so another thing is, so each the 496, they have like an allotted sum, right, that they start out with. And let's say, there's not necessarily just one winner. There could be multiple winners.
Yep.
There starts out like a pot of money. And let's say all 496 won. They made it all the way to the end. There's like 6 games. They make it all the way to the end. That pot of money would be divided between all 496. Now, since, people, a lot of folks, won't be making it. I mean, I'm not giving away anything. You kind of know that going in. Some people are going to die.
Is it like Hunger Games? It's like, is the point to kill other players? Like
no,
eliminate them?
No,
Nope.
not really. Now
the point is to play the game.
Now there are. Okay. I mean, there are. I guess ways that you could play the game that you would be benefiting off of someone else's death. I will say that, but that just depends on how you play the game. But so it's kind of set up. I guess it is kind of like Hunger Games, but it's kind of like you're not fighting each other. Oh, another thing I will say that, and I don't think this is giving away too much, is that all the games are they're like kids games.
Yeah. Yes,
like fucking dodgeball and shit.
Well, not that game specifically. So imagine the game, instead of being like Hunger Games, the reason I don't think it's like that is like the games, for example, I'm making this one up so I don't give away a plot, but say you have a deck of cards and I turn over a card. If it's red, you have to put your hand on the card. If it's blue, or if it's black, you have to do nothing. And that's the rules, right? That's the rules of the game. And so I'm turning over. If it's a red card and you put your hand down, great. Black card, you don't do anything, great. Now, if you mess up, if this was a game I was playing with you, D, and you mess up, maybe I owe you $1, right? In Squid Game, if you put your hand down when you're not supposed to, your head gets blown off.
Oh.
But that's...
By who?
Well, by various things, people, objects.
The computer.
Computer.
No,
the computer blows your head off.
It's not like a bomb in the head. I don't want to give away a lot. So, but that's the example of it. They're very normal games, like Ethan's saying. Okay. It's not like Hunger Games in the sense of you're surviving and you have to eat and get food. And you're literally just playing games.
Maniacs in there playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of what it feels like.
A disguised version of Russian roulette. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And also like. Yeah, and the key differentiator again, they can leave. They are not
they
hostage.
can leave. That is a big
So they
that
can
it,
leave. Do they
I don't know what
leave
I'm trying to
worse
say.
off?
They can't leave
Well,
during a game. So if you start a
Right.
game, you that's a rule they stipulate.
must
If you
finish it.
started a game, you must play or you will be eliminated.
Okay.
So, but between games, because they are kept in a place, they are allowed to sleep and eat and stuff that
Uh-huh.
you can leave, and that's a heavy plot device. And the runners of the game deflect criticism from all the people, like, oh, you're evil, and they're like, you can walk away right now,
Mhm.
go, won't leave, go ahead.
Nothing
And some
happens
people
to them.
no, and some people do, and nothing happens to them.
Right.
Huh.
It's very unique in that regard.
It is.
So
It
it's
is
we're
unique.
getting into the the people can't they
It's
just
greed.
greedy.
Yeah, greed is a
Fucking
big
greedy.
plot device too.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee.
And
Not,
gam- and
I
like
mean,
almost
not
like
only like greed, people in the game, trying to get the money at that point in time, it's not so much greed that's I don't know if it's greed that's still driving them, because if they're in a lot of debt, either they made some bad choices, or maybe they were greedy, and well, that would be a bad choice. But maybe they just had a run of bad luck, like maybe they just didn't get a fair shake.
That's another thing I liked. I don't know if you felt the same, Ethan. Not all the characters, you didn't feel bad, or you didn't. You felt bad for some of the characters. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
I wasn't rooting for. Like some of them were genuinely bad luck. There were plenty
Yeah.
that they made a good example of showing they're there because they're greedy, they're stupid,
Pieces of shit.
they
yeah.
get in. Yeah, they're pieces of shit. Like there's like a yakuza kind of guy. He's a
Yeah.
piece of shit.
Okay.
Like
okay,
there are some people there that you absolutely don't care if they die, but then there are
Yeah.
people there who have families and they're just they got fired from their job, no fault of their own. They're trying to
Yeah.
provide for their little girl and their wife. They're in debt, and
Yeah.
now they're in this game. They're not
Yeah.
bad people, but there's one of the characters makes a point of trying to convince everyone that they shouldn't leave, they should keep playing, and someone's like, well, we're gonna die if we stay here or something, and she's like, well, what's gonna happen if we go out there? We
Right.
have nowhere. Like she had nowhere to go to. She was homeless, I think, or almost homeless. She's like, what's gonna, it's hell out there too. I'm
Yeah.
in debt, 400
That's the
million
key. Get
won.
everybody else to quit.
Yeah, it's I don't. That's not explored really, but I guess if you could somehow mind control everyone and get them to quit, yeah. You don't.
I mean, you'd still have to play the game.
Yeah, you
but you'd
have
be
to
the only
complete-
one.
You have to complete the games. You don't. So if you're that is a maybe we weren't clear. That is a plot device too. So if everyone did quit like game 3, right?
Yeah.
You
yeah.
still have to beat the other 3 games. You don't win if you're the last one standing.
Who do you play
you-
against? If ain't no one else.
Well, you
you
don't
play,
you don't
well,
play.
you're not
against
playing-
anybody.
Yeah, you're not playing against the other players necessarily.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why it's rigged. Yeah. Now I'm on the side of the people saying it's rigged.
It's
It was
I mean,
fair
it's-
up to that
it's-
point.
it's-
I think
it's not-
pretty fair.
yeah. I don't really think it's rigged. Like, is it hard? Yes. Are the odds stacked 1,000,001 against you? I can't really. I don't want to give away any of the games. They're not
It's a
rigged.
rigged game.
They are just extremely difficult. Like extremely. Like it's
Yeah.
lawyer mode, man. Like
Yeah, it's
seriously,
lawyer
like the example I gave, I'll go hardcore on it. So the card example that I made up, right? What a more accurate representation of how the games work in the show is, instead of just putting your hand on a red card or not putting your hand on a black card, let's say on the red card you have to put your hand to where your pinky is precisely 33.6% on the card. Right. I'm like, you have to be precise is my point, right? Instead of just, because a lot of the games are about precision. They're not just about do X, Y, or Z. They're
Oh,
do
Lord.
it exactly how we tell you to do it. They're like I said, it's lawyer mode. So it's not,
Fucking
doing it halfway.
Simon
is not
didn't
good
say.
enough. Right. Well, that
Right.
kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
You have to.
God.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. mercy.
Simon
No, thank you.
says would actually probably fit really well in the show.
Sons of bitches, I hated that game.
Maybe that's season 2. They start off with Simon Says, followed up with a Red
Simon Says.
Red Rover.
It's a good show though. I think one of the cool things about it as far as like a thought exercise, is I could almost see something like this happening. Like almost compared to like Hunger
Pretty soon.
Games. Yeah, I mean, I could see if you're willing to, if you had a country or a government, jokes aside, that was willing to fully suspend morals, like fully, and let people sign up for this. Because currently, the way the legal system works, at least in America, and I think it applies based on a YouTube video I saw. The guy thought he applied it in South Korea. He wasn't sure. You can't enter into a contract that's has something illegal in it or that will do knowingly do you harm. The contract's null and void.
Yeah.
So
if it's unconstitutional, it's considered null and void.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so
straight up.
Things would have to change for this to happen. But
so what if it is a I guess this is probably a bad example. Well, maybe if it's like terminally ill people who are still functional, know they're going to die. What if what if they just want to decide to end it?
We get
or what if they could
now.
play? What if they could play for their families? Like, what if they're because you're gonna die in 3 months, but if you win the game, your family gets $20 million.
Oh, now you're talking. Now
you're dead in 3 months anyways.
I mean, I like to think these, or I would. What would realistically would probably happen is those people's families would be like, "No, don't do this. We'd rather have 3 months with you than $20 million." No.
I'm sure some families, sadly, would be like, "No, get the fuck in there. I want a Gucci sweatshirt."
Piece of shit. You never did nothing for me.
Yeah. What are you doing?
The least you could do was go die for a chance to make some money.
Yeah. You're just dying. We're just drowning in hospital bills. Just go out there and die. Jesus. God. Like either way, I mean, they're if you're doing it for your family, if you died in the first round, well, they wouldn't be paying, for your medicine any longer or medical bills.
Oh, that's actually no. So I'm going to give away one plot. It ties in perfectly with what you just said. This is a plot point, but it's so minor, it's inconsequential. So at one point, a lot of people die. Shocker. Okay, a lot of people die, and everybody's freaking out because now it's apparent that if you lose the game, you die. I don't know what they thought eliminated meant, but okay, you lose the game.
So wait, hold up. Is this not televised where everybody knows how the game works?
No, it's not televised. No.
Then who the fuck is watching? Why are they doing it?
A very perverted dude in a mask.
He pays for the whole thing for his singular enjoyment and makes no money off of it.
That's not important. That's not important. Hold on. So
okay,
there's a bunch of people die. Everybody's freaked out, right? And everybody seems to be on the same page of willing to quit because, like we've said, Ethan and I have said so far, you're allowed to quit. So everyone seems to be in agreement. And then the game organizer, or not the organizer, but like a spokesperson, is like, if that's great. You guys can quit. We're not going to hurt you. You go home. Everyone that's died, their families will receive 100 million won as a bereavement. It'll be sent to them anonymously, which I think that's like $100,000 American or something. It'll be sent to them anonymously. You guys will go home. And then this bitch goes, well, what do we get? And the guy's like, nothing. You didn't complete the games. You don't get anything. But don't worry. The people who died, their families will get the bereavement. It will help them immensely. You guys go back to your lives unharmed. And instantly you see the change in all these people, and they're like, well, that's not fair. Why do they get something? The greed kicks in immediately, even though they just watched these people die pretty horrifically, mind you. They're jealous
of the person that got blown to smithereens.
Yes, they're jealous their family is going to get money, and they're not going to get any.
Jealous that I didn't die.
Right, that's what's so fucked up about it. It's insane. It's insane to me, and I think it's insane because I think I could see that happening.
That's exactly how people would be.
If you die, does your family get that money, or is
they explicitly said that
only for that? Oh, really?
Yeah, they made a point of saying that
okay,
if you die, well, so that only happens if there's not a winner, right? Because the winner, like you said earlier, winner takes all. The reason they say this up front is because everyone's willing to quit because everybody's scared. Everyone's going to walk away. And they say, well, okay, in that case, the pot will be split between the dead families. They'll each get 100 million won, and then they get upset. So conceivably, if the game went on and no one won, like everyone died, assuming the game organizer sticks by their word, which we won't know because it's not addressed. Assuming they stick by their word, all the families would get bereavement money.
Right.
So
they didn't stick to it. Like, oh,
So
well.
about 100. About how many people show up
Glad
for a
you made
series
it,
of
man.
games?
456, I think you said, right? It's very precise.
Oh, 456, yeah.
Yep.
And everybody's numbered. So you know
Yep.
who number 1 is and who the last person is.
And they make a point of embarrassing people at some, like, people that kind of try to take the moral high ground and like accuse the game organizers of XYZ, right? They like, there's one point where they click on a video feed and they start giving this guy's rap sheet and saying all the fucked up things
Yeah.
he does and his family's name and where he lives and his, like, just belittling him to show that, yeah, we're fucked up, but you're here, this person at least, you're here and you're no better than we are.
You're also fucked up. Like,
Right. So it's very apparent they've done immense research on these people somehow. Like, they know everything about them.
Yeah. They shop around for sure. They find the right candidates to make
Good God.
to make a good they assume that they want a good makeup. You know what I mean? Like you said earlier, there was a gang member. Like
Yeah, there's like a Yakuza. It's not Yakuza because that's Japanese, but what the fuck ever, whatever it is in South Korea, same idea.
Easy now.
Easy. No, I mean, we were just making fun of Hispanic people.
Oh,
So.
no.
Oh,
I think it's
whoa,
okay.
whoa.
But no, I think that they study everybody quite extensively because they want a good game. They want a good makeup of people that have different backgrounds, different needs, different reasons to get the money. So it's almost like a Big Brother if everybody was killed.
So, I mean,
Which
so stepping away.
might be more entertaining for Big Brother. I just want
So
to trademark
Like a
that
Much
idea.
better show.
Let's leave the plot for a second because I know we want to talk about this, but I don't want to go too deep into
Sure.
it because I don't want to have
Yeah.
something ruined for me and D hasn't
Right,
watched
right,
it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
let's get away from the
That's
plot and talk about in real life application. Because I stand by what I said a few minutes ago. I think that I'm not saying it's going to be applied tomorrow. I'm not trying to be funny or dystopian, but compared to, like, you use the example, the Hunger Games or something like Saw, which that's different. That's not really a game,
Yeah.
quote unquote, even though that's his tagline.
I mean,
I
the
think
guy
I
wanted
could
to just play a game.
I think Squid Game, I think the premise could be done. Like, not now, and I mean, hopefully not in my lifetime, but I find it more believable simply because, like we've said, it's voluntary. You're not abducted. You're not taken into it. You're allowed to leave. It's your own greed or stupidity that keep you there.
Mhm.
I mean, it's if they were to allow, I mean, I still think you would have to make some pretty fundamental changes to law in whatever country did it, because
Yeah.
you would have to allow contracts to exist. Like in the US, a contract would have to be valid even if it's signed for something illegal. You would have to allow this death. But I don't know. I mean, would we as a society, would we want that? Again, it has to be completely voluntary. If it's
Right.
voluntary and these people can walk away whenever, who are we to say that they shouldn't do it?
I think we'll get to the involuntary route first.
Oh, okay. So you think we're gonna have Squid Game, but you're just abducted and put in the pit?
Yeah, hell yeah. I think that's more likely than the well, we'll just let people do it if they wanna. I think it's more. I mean, there's precedence for what I'm talking about. There's no precedence for letting people do it voluntary. They can leave whenever they want. No, hell no. We just round them up, put them in a fucking coliseum, and let them make them fight the lions for our entertainment.
So
That's
there's not
been done.
precedent.
That's happened
there's-
before.
But that's hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So do we think it would happen again now?
It's the same. It's just humans being humans. We're
So I
evil,
guess-
man. We love violence.
I would say so. Here's my counterpoint. You're probably going to be disgusted by it, but if it's involuntary, it's for we'll say prisoners. I'm going to keep it simple, right? We'll say involuntary. We'll pretend it's prisoners, whether it's criminal, political, whatever. Voluntary though, Pepsi could sponsor it, and maybe you do televise it. I mean, maybe you don't have to follow the plot of what we're talking about on Netflix
Right.
exactly. Maybe if it's voluntary, and again, we'd have to make some fundamental changes to our laws to allow these contracts to be valid. But if
Hey, you
people
just
are
do it
allowed to
offshore.
sign it, Oh, sure. Yeah, sorry. XYZ country. It doesn't have to be America. Wherever.
Yeah, go
It
do
has
it
to
out
be
there in
like
international waters, maritime law, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
piracy. All right.
Epstein's Island.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, I
Just
mean,
go ham on it.
that's why I see the voluntary route happening, because I think that if it was made legal and there was no, I mean, I don't think Pepsi would be the first one, because you would have to get over the PR nightmare, right? They wouldn't want to be the first ones to test the waters.
Right.
But
Yeah.
smaller companies,
We,
if it
we
was
all know it'd be
voluntary,
Raid Shadow Legends.
oh my god! Can you imagine? Can you imagine the camera pans to a guy gurgling up blood, and you hear a voice saying, "Raid Shadow Legends installed now. Get an exclusive skin."
This death rattle brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
The guy's like begging for his wife, He's like, "I love you," and it's Raid Shadow Legends.
The light goes out in his eyes.
Oh,
Jesus.
Background music supplied by Rob Zombie.
Dracula fires up.
no, it'd be Monster Cat, the royalty-free dubstep that he uses. Oh Jesus! Whoever's listening to this, I'm sorry. We're just clipping, laughing at our own jokes. Oh Jesus!
So okay. Now the reason that all right, there are a couple ways you could look at it. One, you could think about it as we're humans and we're brutal and we can be pieces of shit. Or you could look at it kind of, I mean, so take the people in the game, the Squid Game, for instance, right? They're all destitute. They all fucked up. Maybe the cards were stacked against them from the get go. Maybe they just, are. I mean, the world it's a cruel place, right? How much worse is it playing the game than it would be just to play out live?
So are you saying if I'm understanding what you're saying, if you're that far in debt, whether it's your fault or not, doesn't matter, bad luck or you're stupid, like, are you asking if I was in that situation, would I try to climb back out, or would I roll the dice with something like this?
Right, right.
I think
Would
it
you
it
gamble?
depends.
Would you risk it all?
The answer, the lame answer is it depends. If we're talking, I'm bottom of the barrel. So let's use, my wife's left me, my family just disowned me, none of my friends will talk to me, I'm millions in debt, I have nothing. I don't know, man. I mean, it's easy to armchair quarterback it. If I'm trying to be serious and answer the question, I don't know. I think if it's truly that destitute, maybe. I think you get to a point where if you feel that hopeless and you've tried to climb out for months or years, you think no one cares about you. Maybe no one does care about you. I mean, what do you have left to lose at that point? You could conceivably win, get a bunch of money, and make a new life for yourself.
I mean, well, we got people signing up to go to Mars, and it's very explicit. This is a one-way trip. You're not coming back. And dude, it filled up.
Nope.
It filled up. There's a lot of people.
How many of those people would go through with it, though, you think?
That's a good question.
That's
How many?
a good question.
You talking shit. You want to go to Mars, huh? Okay, well, let's go. Everybody go. Well, wait a minute now.
Well, actually, Tuesday's not good for me. If we can push it back,
no.
maybe.
How far is it?
Oh, I don't have enough socks.
I was supposed to get my hair cut.
Yeah.
No, you have a good point, though. I mean, that's a more real world and grounded example than Squid Game. Is you have people that are being told, like, the only reason to go there is if you truly believe in science and want to advance it, or you just want to experience something, and you're okay with throwing your life away. Like, you either don't have a family, or you're okay with never seeing them again, and them never. You have to think about their emotional impact too, right? Like, if you have a wife and kids, conceivably you love them and you care about them. So not only are you not going to see them, but you're leaving them. They are never going to see you again.
So I guess a big driving factor for me would be, how do I feel about failure? Because in the game, you get one chance to fail.
Right.
Life, you get as many chances, as long as that one failure doesn't end your life, then you'll get more chances to fail.
Right. Life is a sliding scale of failure.
Yeah. You can always
Squid
pick
Game,
up
it's
and
absolute.
You can always pick up and try again. Pick up the pieces and try to put it back together.
Are you singing a song right now or?
No, I'm not
Oh,
saying
oh,
anything.
okay, I got you.
I whipped
Try
it.
again.
Pick up your pieces, try again. It goes something like that. I
I
think.
legit don't know it. I whipped it. I'm sorry.
If Toby Keith was singing it, that's what it sounded like. But yeah. I mean, I guess the question for me is, do the people playing the game, do they have a better shot in the game than they do in real life?
Definitely,
I think some of
them
those
do.
people did. Yeah. So
Yeah.
using the example of the show, I literally think some of those people had a better shot in the game. Even the ones that died, maybe. And I think you could find people in real life that have, you know,
Oh hell, I
pushed
know
every
people like that.
yeah, they
I
fucked
know
up
'em.
so many times that they pushed everyone away. They've eliminated every chance they've had, and no one's willing to give them a chance. And there is always, I keep using the word chance. I need to think of a better word. There is always the chance that they roll a 20, and in 10 or 15 years they somehow make something of themselves. But
Right.
statistically, that's rare. It's
Right.
very
Right.
rare. So, I mean, at least if you go in the game and you manage
Right.
to get lucky, you can win all this money.
At that point, I don't know. Do you play the lotto? Do you try to be an inventor? Do you try to? I don't know. It just seems like there's. I don't know. It feels like it's people who've lost hope, and it feels like that's
Right.
kind of the theme of it. It's like we're preying on the people that have lost hope, and we're going to exacerbate it by, uh, I don't know what the word I'm looking for here is. We're going to exacerbate it by making a hopeless society. Oh, we're gonna make that more and more hopeless to get more and more people to play our game and to, you know,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
so you think if we set up the game, it becomes a reality, whatever,
Yeah,
then the game is obviously going to be immensely popular.
yeah,
It becomes so popular that I guess the ruling, quote unquote, ruling class is making people more downtrodden
yes.
in
It
order.
becomes conducive
Yeah,
to the to oh man, perpetuating the game
yeah,
to
yeah.
make
So
society more and more hopeless.
what you're
That's a good
saying,
point.
it's going back to the show for a second, not talking about the plot, but there's some not so thinly veiled allegories, as in they're hitting you over the head with it the entire time, of
They're
how,
beating you to death with
yeah,
more
just
capitalism or
beating,
something.
yes. Well, no,
Yeah,
not straight up, not just that, not capitalism specifically, but the cycle of
Mm.
these people are destitute. And again, it doesn't hide that a lot of them are its own fault. It doesn't try to make excuses for them. It's these people
yeah,
have repeatedly fucked themselves. But
right.
it dangles the carrot of you can walk away at any time. And yes, you can, but can
Son
you
of a
though?
bitch.
But
Because
can
if you
you?
walk away, you're not going
What
to
are you
die in
walking
this
back
game.
to?
Exactly. So
Mm.
and there's plenty of metaphor to that to real life. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm in a bad situation here. I'm working this dead end job and I lost my family and I'm working 80 hours a week and I'm doing this. And your employer, if you told them that, would say, well, you can leave. Go
Yeah,
ahead. I'm not stopping you. You can leave. And
leave
but it's
whenever
a
you want.
false choice. I think it's not a logical fallacy. It's not that, but it's another type of symbolism. And
Coercion.
I think it is
It's a type of coercion.
is that what, well, it's there's something literally called false choice, and it's a
False
mechanism of some.
dichotomy.
Okay, that's probably what I'm thinking of. Okay, yeah, so I have a choice, but it's like, I mean, to oversimplify it, it's like,
Right.
I'm gonna shoot you in the head. Oh, well, don't do that. Okay, I'm gonna shoot you in the stomach. It's like, well, what the fuck kind of choice is that? Well, you have a choice. It's like,
That's true.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's like Lord of the Rings when Thorin Oakenshield said, you know, we came to you, we didn't have nothing. What choice did we have but to barter our inheritance for knives and rags? It's like, what was I supposed to do? You had a knife to my throat, and yeah, of course, I'll give you, $14 gazillion. Yeah, sure, why not? Because I don't want
yeah,
to die. I don't want to
right.
freeze to death.
Right.
Yeah, of course, whatever. Yeah, I didn't really have a choice, but allegedly, a choice was made.
I don't know.
So
I don't know that.
so who would be putting the gun to their head at this point? The world,
Life.
society, life,
Suffering.
yeah, the
Bottom
world.
text: we live in a society.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Right. You being the, I don't think it's any mystery that you're a conspiracy theorist. I am as well.
Oh hell.
Uh,
Where are we going with this one?
don't you think we're doing that part already?
Which part?
Um,
The false choice. I definitely think we're doing that already.
Oh
The
Lord,
fall-
we're getting
yeah,
into like
the-
determinism.
yeah. yeah.
Well, we
That's
don't
what
have
I
to
was-
get that
that's
deep
what I
with
was
it.
saying. Well, sure,
I think
we don't, but
Well, so let's use a canned example, right? Let's do the and I'm not making a statement here. Blah blah blah. Lawyer mode. Disclaimer. It's not the thoughts of my employer, etc. But if we
he works
we
for
have
Hooters.
right, yeah. I work for McDonald's. So you want to get a house, right? And we're simplifying. We have to all be willing to agree. I'm going to overly simplify all this because we have to.
Right.
I'm just speaking
Right.
in generalizations. So you want to get a house, right? You have a job, and you want to get a house. There is very little chance you're going to buy that house with cash. I'm excluding any inheritances. You
Almost
haven't
zero.
saved
Yes,
for
sir.
20
Yeah,
years. You
almost zero.
can't. You have to get a loan, right? You have to.
Yes, sir.
So you're set up in a system where you have a choice. You don't have to get a loan. You can sit in an apartment your entire life. You can rent something your entire life. You can live in your car your entire life. You do not
Sure.
have to get this loan. But
Sure.
do you really have a choice if you want to, let's say, work towards something, or you need space for a family, or you want to plan for a family? A lot of reasons. You do have a choice. No one is holding a literal gun to your head and making you go get a mortgage from Wells Fargo.
We're just really going to make it extremely uncomfortable for you
Yes,
if
exactly.
you go the opposite route.
We're going to
You can.
incentivize. Right. Yeah.
The
Exactly.
entire thing
that.
has been structured to incentivize this direction. You don't have
Yep.
to do it.
Right.
But
And
if
so you do it.
man, it's going to be so much easier on you. But if you don't,
Yep.
it's going to be kind of miserable, and your family's probably going to hate you, and you
Yep.
know your parents going to be ashamed of you, so on and
Yeah.
so forth.
So you do that route, right? You do it. You
Yeah,
get the loan,
of course.
and everything's
Yeah.
going great, and then you lose your job. And let's oversimplify. It is literally you were a perfect employee. You're the employee that doesn't exist,
Did nothing
and-
wrong.
and the branch closes. You lose your job. Now, is the bank going to say, "Man, oh you were super good, Ethan. You did everything right. You know what? We're just going to forgive this loan. You keep that home."
Yeah, that's
And
what they
you
do.
just live there. No, they don't do that. Even though you were, like you said, not forced, but almost forced, extremely pressured into this route, and they expect you to fail. I'm not even trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I think they expect most people at some point, maybe not to default to the point of foreclosure, but to have problems, to need to refinance, to get
Right.
behind so much in payments that your interest rate goes up. They
Right.
expect this to happen, and they want it to happen.
But Snow, what you don't understand is if you don't give these people loans that cannot pay them back, that just means you hate them.
I hate that. I
And
forgot.
you
I'm
don't
sorry.
want them to have a part of the American dream. Right? So you should just give them a loan. It doesn't matter that they work at Walmart as
Right.
a cashier, making, I don't know what are they making, $10 an hour now probably. Woo!
I think it's
You should
yeah,
give them a $400,000 loan.
right. Mortgage is what, $2,000 a month. They
Balloon.
can definitely pay that.
Make sure it's a balloon, balloon rate, so it goes up because you're going to get a raise. Walmart's going to give you 32 cents
variable
a
rate.
year. Yeah, give me that variable rate adjusted mortgage. Yeah, I'm tracking you, man. It's a fucking it's taking advantage of ignorant people for by and large. You don't
Yep.
you really don't have to get me started on home loans because the whole thing is a shark. And I own a home. I'm on my second, and
Yeah.
as in I don't have two houses. I'm on my second, home that I've moved into. The whole thing is a fucking it infuriates the shit out of me. If you want to make me
So-
go blind with rage, get me.
Are we
talking
not already there
whole-
then? So
No, I don't think we're there.
No. So I'm not saying
Close.
I'm not I'm not saying we're Squid Game, but I'm saying we are in society. I think like I think this is where you were maybe going with it, Ethan, a few minutes ago before we kind of got on a tangent. We already have a lot of these choices built into our life. They're not to the extreme of you're on some game show playing children's games and you die or you win millions of dollars. It's not fairy tale land, but throughout your life, you have this illusion of choice. It's you can technically make a choice. It is not being forced upon you, but the choices are so heavily weighted that you only really have one. No matter if
Right.
it's two choices or six choices or 50 choices, one of them is going to be so much more incentivized, like you were saying, the weighted, incentivized, whatever, that most people go that route. And I'm including myself in this. This kind of topic quickly gets that I'm 12 and this is deep shit. I'm not pretending like I'm the only
Well,
person that's ever thought about this. This is not a complicated topic. And I fall victim to this. I mean, I make the same choices because I want things in society. I want things for myself and my family. And unfortunately, unless you're the mega rich, you have to play by the rules if you want those things.
Yeah.
It's that depressing. I killed everybody. Everybody
Jesus.
listening just had a fucking stroke.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just
I'll
sitting
give
there
you
like,
that. I
yeah,
got pretty
yeah,
depressed.
he kind of right though.
And just
Eh,
so our listeners know, this podcast is designed
Sponsored by
for
Raid Shadow Legends.
Sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, and it is designed for 12-year-olds. So if we are
Target
you
audience,
know,
12-year-olds
our
with
target
mortgages.
audience, 12-year-olds, we're just preparing them for what's coming.
It's just, I don't know. I don't want to. Part of me is like, yeah, you're right, and then the other part of me is still the optimist. Believe it or not, there is some optimism in my soul, where it's like, yeah, well, you don't have to, and it's. I know, and I'm playing into the game a little bit here. You don't have to. It's not something you must do. No one's putting a gun in your head. You can think different.
No,
There are people who
you
do
are
think
true.
different,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
and they do win out. They do. They are. You know, I know people who they're like, no, man. I know. What was this thing? I read this story about this dude who lived. He worked construction and lived in just a fucking ghetto apartment for 12 years, but he saved every fucking penny. He saved every penny. He had $2.3 million in the bank after
Damn,
12 years.
dude, that is fucking amazing.
Oh, it's unreal. It's unreal. But he lived in squalor and had nothing
The
for
fucking
12
banking
years.
industry would like to know your location. He's
Yeah,
got fucking
you
SWAT teams
yeah.
breaking
Oh,
down his house.
Right.
Greenblatt and Stein are on their way in my house. But it's just, it's makes you sick because it's like, man, you think about 12 years. All right, once you become an adult, 18, add 12, so we're at 30 years old. Yeah, we don't get but like 70s as males, give or take what, 8?
Yeah.
That's that's way more than 10% of your life.
Yep.
You just gotta suck it up and live in shit, and then you can go live, however you want. It's like, what is this?
Well, see, I think the
What's this
argument you're making
game?
now. So this is the argument I feel like, and I don't want to derail us. This is like 8 podcasts if we went this way. But the argument you're making is the argument that I feel like people that say they hate capitalism. I feel like more of their core of their argument, not the people that are just yelling. I'm talking about people that genuinely want to have a debate about it. I feel like the core of their argument is better expressed how you're expressing it. Instead, they kind of get trapped up in the capitalism bad, socialism great, or whatever. It doesn't have to be socialism. XYZ is better. It will
Your
fix all the
ism.
wrongs. Right. And it's not the case. But if they talked about it or maybe examined it how you put forward, tried to be more middle of the ground, which everyone hates, fucking fence riders, but tried to look at it as
Right.
though you can work in this system, but it's so weighted against you that, like you said, this guy's, what, 1 in a million? No one does
Mhm.
this.
Yeah,
This guy's
I
unheard
mean,
of.
it's exceptional. That's why, I remembered it because, wow, that's exceptional. No
Yeah.
one does that. But
But
this
to,
guy
to your
did.
point, though, and I know you're saying you're being an optimist, but you are right. If you're willing to go against the pressure of society, I guess, or expectations, And if you're willing to, I mean, if you have a wife or husband that's willing to do that with you, great. But you have to
Yeah,
probably be willing to not have a significant other who's willing
right.
to do that.
So
So if you're willing to
that's a
push
great
that,
point. You got to put off. You got to put off having an SO for
right?
maybe 10, 12 years, 13 years.
Because
So now you're in your 30s. You're well
Yep.
past the prime of your childbearing years, right? Because you're mid late 20s. That's the best time to have kids, allegedly. Whatever. Say what you want about biology. You get in your 30s, and that's when you start having kids. It's like, well, that's great, but whenever they're 15, you're going to be almost 50, and that's going to feel weird.
Yep. So
Whenever
you
they're 25, you're going to be 60. It's like, do the math. Watch,
Yeah.
watch it scale up. And so you've sacrificed all of that to not
Yep.
be a slave to debt, to not be a
Well,
slave
and
to.
and it's such a small thing. You've sacrificed all of that, and all you've really gained. So I understand it's immense, but I want to try and put it in perspective. All you've really gained is something that, if we tried to be humane to each other, should almost be the default. You've sacrificed all this to only gain the ability to not be in debt the rest of your life and have
Right.
creditors try to ruin you at every turn. You've
Right.
not sacrificed all this to become king of the world or to cure cancer or to
Yeah.
be the first person to go to Mars. You've sacrificed all this so fucking Bank of America can't foreclose on your home when you're fired from your job. Like, it seems like such a shitty payout for all you've sacrificed and put in. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I understand it would be great to be able to do that. You're debt free, you're in financial control of your life, which is immense. But don't
Yeah.
you think the payout's kind of skewed? Like, we're talking about how much you're giving up for such a
Oh,
big
100%.
portion of the prime of
Yeah,
your life, and that's all
absolutely
you get.
skewed. Right. You get to not be harassed and degraded by debt collectors, and waiting, under the stress of waiting for something, the other shoe to drop, so to speak, and everything taken away from you just because I got 6 months behind on my mortgage.
Yep.
I lost it all.
Damn.
Doesn't matter. You had $80,000 of equity wrapped up in that. No, they went ahead and swooped that up too. It's fine.
Yeah, it's
it
just
make your blood boil, man. It make me want to go light the torches. Well, I shouldn't say that. Have trials and litigate, and some people need to see some gallows, in my opinion. But that's the opinion of D.
I think the better scenario is if okay, so let's say it's like a gladiator type thing, right? But it's not just the poor people. Let's do the rich people too.
Uh-oh.
I think
so
it sh- I
are
think
you
it
are you
should
saying
be
like an unbiased lottery?
an unbiased lottery?
Oh.
Hmm.
I think
I'm
that
behind
wouldn't
that.
happen. I think
Give it
that
a
wouldn't
try.
happen because the rich people would buy their way out of it. But I would like to
Sure.
see it
Literally
happen.
what happened.
I know. God.
Remember Vietnam? There was a lotto.
Oh,
Or
right.
I don't know. It wasn't a lotto. What did they call it?
There
it
was a
called
draft.
lotto?
What do you mean?
I mean, there was a
I think
draft,
I think
but there. No, it was a draft. You're right, but there was a way. They had a way of snatching young men up for it. I can't remember.
maybe
what
it was the draft lottery because isn't there a way where you draft, like the draft is that you put your name in, but then you're rolled in the lottery and pulled out. Now that's just how a normal draft works.
Yeah,
because
it's
drafts are
normal.
supposed to be randomized. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a war. It was what was it? A war draft lottery. I'm googling around now. I'm sorry. If
So
I'm making
are
noise.
drafts truly random? Small tangent. Like, is it nowadays? Is it literally I know we don't have one. I understand we're not under a draft in America right now, but let's pretend we did. Is it like a computer that spits out, like everybody registers and a computer rolls your number and you're drafted? Like, how do they do it? Is there a weighted system behind it? I guess yeah. Well, there is because it's based on age,
it's
right? It's
weighted,
based on
yeah.
sex, age, what
I
you
mean,
do
well,
for a career too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, whether you were in college or not, you could
Yeah.
Yeah.
you could get a stay if you were in school.
Which kind of
It
seems
was all-
fucked up if you think about it. You're kind of incentivizing. You're kind of in a roundabout way going, if you're poor or uneducated, we're going to meat shield your ass to the nearest country.
You reckon there's a
Right.
reason why all our parents are like, you better go to college?
Get your ass to school,
Yep.
boy.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, they were threatened with war or college.
Imagine living through that and you have a child and you are desperately trying to convince them to go to college and they're like, whatever, mom, whatever, dad. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and you're just
Yeah.
like,
No wonder.
please,
No wonder
please
the
go to
hippie
college.
movement occurred. I mean, seriously, I don't. I'm not a hippie, and I won't defend them really, but I can totally understand why they came about
Yeah.
because it's just like, what the fuck is, why? What are we doing?
What are we
What is
doing?
the point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the sad thing is, you can think about that too. Now it's the reason I would argue we don't have a hippie. I understand there are still hippies, but the reason we don't have a huge movement right now for that is because it's been so normalized. Like the hippie movement happened back then because it was, like you said, it was kind of shock and awe in a way. They were like, how did this happen? We're tired of this. This is unheard
Mhm.
of. This can't continue. And so a huge movement sprung out of it. I would argue now, in that way at least, things are worse as far as normalizing violence or the military, whatever. It doesn't matter, XYZ, but there's no
Yeah, the Mick.
counterculture movement to it because it's fucking, yeah, the Mickens, yeah, military industrial complex, but there's no counter movement to it because it's normal. It's just what we
Right.
it's just fucking Monday.
Right.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. I hate to say that, but it's true. If there is any counter to it, um, okay, maybe I shouldn't bring this up. We're we could certainly go down a path with this conversation. That could take us back to censorship and right and left and getting into politics and
So let's. I took us off. I apologize. Let's
No,
finish.
no,
let's
no,
let's finish the
that's
thought
the
you
point.
you had about. So if you did have a game like this, we'll cap off the night and circle up our conversation. If you did have a game like this that you could do, and you made it to where it was rich and poor, how do you think that would affect the structure of the game? So it doesn't matter if we're talking just a game for money where death is involved, with it, whether it's the Squid Game approach or Hunger Games approach or Gladiator where you're dropped in a ring, but you're not allowed to buy your way out. So imagine somehow something impartial selects the people. So there's just as much chance as Bill Gates is selected as the poorest person in New York City right now. How do you think that would change both the perception of the game and how it would play out? Like, would more people watch it? Would less
Oh
people
hell
watch
yeah!
it?
It would make it more popular if it was truly understood that there is no buying your way out. If no matter
Right.
who you are, you can get soaked up into it. Yeah, oh hell yeah, it would be insanely popular.
well, it'd
Because
be fun till it was you.
yeah, oh yeah, agreed. That's as anything like that goes. Yeah, it's cool till it's your ass that gets pulled up into it, and it's like,
Yeah.
not so cool no more.
I think
But
that actually just with how how I think people are, having people in there that are destitute and have a choice would make it much more popular because then people could watch it in the safety of their homes and think to themselves, that's not going to be me. So I'm going to sit back and enjoy watching these other people die.
yeah,
Do you think it would be more popular if it was mostly poor people as opposed to rich people? Is that what you're saying? I want to make sure I understood you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think
I think
don't-
it'd be more popular amongst rich people, but not poor people. No, they would see it as an insult.
I think it would have an interesting. I almost wonder if it would have an interesting effect on ambition in the general sense. So
Yeah.
no, I'm being serious for a second, right? So like
Yeah,
let's
hope.
because one of the reasons that some people at least want to become rich and powerful is that you become immune to a lot of things. Like Mother Nature may still
Sure.
get your ass, you still get cancer and die, you still get hit by a strike of lightning, but you can buy your way out of a lot of societal problems. And
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
you know that there's a system like this where you have no hope of escaping, it is truly an unbiased system, and the righteous hand of Squid Game comes down and plucks your ass up, even though you're worth $6.9 trillion, it does
Oh,
not care.
so worth it.
Right.
That
So,
would be
do you think it would
hilarious.
disincentivize? Do you think that would disincentivize people for trying to
No.
become ultra rich?
I think I agreed with this. It would continue to overwhelm our senses.
Really.
But-
So I
but-
get what you're saying, Snow, and that's an interesting point and something I hadn't thought about when I brought that up.
Right.
That
Doesn't matter what
really is
happens.
interesting. Yeah, it doesn't matter what happens
You
because
may get soaked up in the game and just die. Oh well.
that's right. Yeah, so
Yep.
why
But
even
the fact
try?
is, but that's life anyway. You're just gonna fucking die anyway.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
that doesn't
Yeah.
stop us.
Yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't. I don't know that it would stop everyone. I wonder how many. You have to assume there are some people out there who become rich because they. I mean, sure, everybody wants money, but they want power. Like that's the thing we keep hearing, right? The ultra rich, because it's kind of ironic in a way. This is a tangent, but when you become ultra rich, a lot of times you stop paying for things. You're given things. You're ultra
Right.
rich, but you're given things because people want to curry favor with you. They want you to
Right.
promote their product. Even though you
Right.
can afford it, you don't even spend a dime on it. But you have power. And that's what people want with the money. The money is a
So
way to exert power.
it's so interesting the way you described it because kind of what you're describing is kind of a deity in a way. It's like this. There's this thing that's gonna pluck you out of your existence wherever you are. Doesn't matter where. And oh, I got you.
Yep, your number's
Right.
up, baby.
And I'm throwing you into the shit. Boom! It
Yeah.
just yeets your ass down in there, and now you're down there with everybody else. Good luck.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't die. Right? That's
That-
kind of
And
like Deus
guess
Ex
what?
Machina, right?
Yeah. That waiter,
yeah.
that 6 foot tall, 285 pounds of pure muscle waiter that you didn't tip last week. He's
Right?
in
He
there
remembers
too.
you.
Yeah.
He's in there
He
too.
remembers your ass. You told him to get a real job.
That's an interesting point too, because what if it's a PvP game and you are the mega rich guy that gets put in there?
Oh,
So it's
you
not
are
Squid
so
Game.
dumb.
You're dead.
You are
son.
so done.
You're dead. You
I
would
think
be
I
the
think it'd be
first
one
to
of the
die.
well, I think it'd be one of two extremes. You either die first or everyone tries to protect you because they want you to pay them.
Ooh.
Right?
Now we're getting interesting.
Oh, you can buy your way out of it if you just let me live. Just let me live.
Ooh. Ah.
No, man, there'll be somebody that's like, no, fuck that. You thought you was too good? No, you're out of here, baby. If it kills me, I'm taking you with me. Somebody will be that guy. Somebody
Yeah.
will do it.
I've changed my mind. It would be wildly more popular if it was rich and poor people.
Hell
I've changed
yeah.
my mind completely
I'm
because
telling you.
I'm behind this 100%. Even if I have to be the one that dies for this, I'm willing to
Put
sacrifice
me in there with Bill
that for the
Gates. It's
greater
like, I don't
good.
even
That is-
care. I
yeah.
don't even care. He's not
It's-
making it out of this motherfucker.
That is ultimately the greater good, in my opinion. You know,
I would just like to clarify for the lawyers out there, by Bill Gates we mean a hypothetical person that lives on Mercury, not the former owner of Microsoft, or any person, any likeness, living or
Oh,
dead,
yeah,
or
yeah.
future
Allegedly.
thereof.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Billo Gatto.
Gates, that guy lives, down the street from me. He's got more money
Yeah,
than me.
yeah. It's,
Jerk.
Man, this has been a ride tonight. We've that was a filling entree of calamari, if I do say so myself.
fucking stupid.
Oh fuck!
Oh, Lord, that was
Funny.
good.
One star reviews. Everybody frantically clicking their phone. Fuck you.
You son of a bitch, your stupid squid jokes.
How long have you been waiting to say that, or did you just come up with that?
I just came up with it
Man.
just now. Well, we
It's
talked about at the
good.
beginning. We at the beginning of it, we were talking about jokes about Squid Game, calamari, whatever, and I was like, I gotta tie this up in a bow. We gotta bring this home.
Perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. So thanks for listening in to everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. You can find us on YouTube. Find us on Twitter, Chode House Podcast, Instagram, whatever.
I'm
You
sure we'll
name
make
it.
TikToks
We're out
eventually.
there.
Just look
We're on
for us on any of the
TikTok.
flavor of the week
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
You will find a name and no presence, I'm sure.
Yeah. No presence whatsoever. Yeah. I set up accounts, but I don't post anything. So if
We
you
just
want
squat
to,
on the accounts.
Yeah, we're just squatting. I just didn't want somebody to take my fucking name.
All
Yeah,
right, that was
find us
fun,
somewhere.
guys. Been nice talking
Yeah.
to you. See you next week.
Yeah. Good night.
Later.